We'll start it right when the music, like right at the chorus, then I saw her face.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Live from the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Todd Allbaugh, along with our producer and engineer, Mr. Aaron Zommers, on the board. It is now 6 past the hour of 2 o'clock on this Friday, TGIF, May 16th. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. We have made it to the end of the week, Zommers. Friday is here. Thank goodness.
Yes, I am looking forward to some R&R.
Yes, you and me both, my friend. Overcast skies, a little sun poking through here at the world headquarters of Civic Media in downtown Madison, right here on State Street. Rough weather last night, Summers. Wow, we talked about it. Was kind of breaking out during our show yesterday, and I know parts of Wisconsin really got hit hard, and I wanted to start off the show just by offering our thoughts, our prayers, and good vibes being sent out to the communities across Wisconsin who really have gotten some strong damage. Some tornadoes hit touchdown in parts of the state yesterday. A couple of stories I wanted to hit on here. First of all, from Channel 3, the CBS affiliate here in Madison, great anchor reporter Brady Mallory is in Mayville, Wisconsin today, and showing on his Twitter feed some of the storm damage up in Mayville. But then he's also reporting on this really great, inspiring story. And we've talked about it on this program before, that the late, great Fred Rogers, i.e. Mr. Rogers of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, was fond of telling kids, but really all of us who are kids at heart, he would repeat what his mother told him, that in times of trouble or disaster, look for the helpers. Look for the helpers. And Brady Mallory at Channel 3 has found helpers up in Mayville, Wisconsin today, just kind of north of the Beaver Dam area. And he posts on his Twitter, Brady says, call it a post-storm post-it. At Open Door Coffee in Mayville, people are paying it forward, which is routine here, by buying their neighbors coffee and treats and leaving it Post-it notes. Customers can come in, grab a note, and get a free little pick-me-up. And it's really awesome. So in this store called Open Door Coffee in Mayville, people are going and writing kind of inspirational notes to one another on Post-it notes, putting it on a wall, and then buying a coffee order with that, so people can just come in who are going through hard times in Mayville today and get an inspirational message and get a free coffee courtesy of their neighbors. So a great reporting by Brady Mallory of Channel 3000 and WISC here in Madison. Those are the kind of things I love. Those are the kind of stories that in the midst of destruction that people still step up. And again, this is a great example. I bet nobody's going into Open Door Coffee in Mayville and saying, well, I want to only make sure that this goes to a Republican voter or a Democratic voter. Nobody cares. They're doing it because it's helping each other out. And that is the spirit of Wisconsin. That is part of what makes Wisconsin great, that I love to focus on and love to talk about in this program, because there are helpers everywhere. All we have to do is look.
It's just, we have plenty of people who just want to do the right thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. So a big shout out to Brady Mallory of Channel 3 for bringing that story for their broadcast, and just thought I would give them a shout out for doing that. Also, according to the Marshfield News Herald, says in the town of Colby, and of course Colby, famous for Colby cheese, which was founded here in Wisconsin in the city of Colby, said within hours of a tornado tearing through the Colby area, residents, neighbors, and others were out in the community yesterday, volunteering their woodcutters and chainsaws to help clear as much debris as possible before the sun set. The National Weather Service in La Crosse confirmed a tornado near Colby, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour at around 5:21 yesterday afternoon. Law enforcement confirmed the tornado was on the ground, according to the National Weather Service. The intensity of this storm has not yet been determined. It says by 7:45 last night, just over 2.5 hours later, groups of volunteers, EMS, and electric linemen were out cleaning up the numerous downed trees and grounding the live wires from approximately 20 downed power structures. Their focus was getting all of the roads open, according to USA Today Network Wisconsin videographers on the scene. According to Xcel Energy's electric outage map, nearly 500 customers in Colby, Spencer, and the Unity area were without power due to storm damage as of 12 a.m. this morning. Several homes in the Colby area suffered damage, as well as a Colby Chrysler Center, where the local dealership's once pristine vehicles now sit battered in dents from flying debris and shattered windows, glass in the parking lot. Colby Chrysler Center building suffered damages as well. So thinking about all those folks in Colby, as we said, in the Mayville area, I know Juneau is also a place that got hit fairly hard, and I know there were other communities that I'm not calling out specifically. But to everyone across the state of Wisconsin who was affected by these storms last night, we're thinking of you. If there's something we can pass along in terms of fundraisers for you, if there's anything that we could do to be supportive, please let us know, because we want to do that. But again, doesn't matter whether you're in Mayville, paying it forward, buying coffee for your neighbors, or folks here in Colby who were already out last night helping to clean up before the sun even set. And again, who was it? Groups of volunteers, EMS, and electric linemen. And how many times do we go to parades in the summer, or we see a brat stand and it's a fundraiser for our local EMS or volunteers, and we think, well, I don't know, I don't have time. Take the time, and even if you don't want a brat, give them $5, give them $10, give them $100 if you can afford it. Because these are the people, our volunteers, our EMS, our first responders, the electric linemen, all these folks who we don't think of often enough throughout the year. But by golly, when we need them, we need them. And we're all so thankful that we come out and support one another. That's the Wisconsin spirit, folks, right there. So wanted to start off the show with a big shout out to our local communities and all those first responders and people who are cleaning up around the state of Wisconsin after those storms. I believe it might be a couple of much more minor storms, kind of your garden variety rain and thunderstorms later on this afternoon in parts of Wisconsin. And then a cool down zombers, kind of a cool in the 60s across the state of Wisconsin this weekend. But all in all, not too bad. Can't complain at all. Big show today. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we have Bryn and Mike Schieffer here of the Faith Lutheran Child Care of Cameron, Wisconsin, up in beautiful Barron County, not too far from our station up there in Amory. And they're going to be here. They are in town lobbying for the child care programs in Wisconsin. And of course, we had folks on earlier in the week talking about the Republicans on the Joint Finance Committee who are cutting the funding for child care in the state of Wisconsin. They are down here lobbying on that. We're going to talk a little bit about their business and, again, what these cuts really mean to people in the child care industry and people who use the child care industry. Those are the things I want to get to, is what does this really mean to the average Wisconsinite who is in need of or is currently using these services. So we will talk to them. Also, a what's worse for today. Todd tends to lose things. My band director, Lauren Jensen, used to tell me back in high school, she'd say, Todd, you'd lose your left nut if it wasn't attached. And she was absolutely right. So the category today, lost phone or lost keys. What's worse? We'll ask you that in hour 2 and take your phone calls and much more fun along the way. But right now, coming upon 15 past the hour of 2 o'clock, time once again for Free Ticket Friday. Let's go.
Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Not a trace of doubt in my mind. I've been alone. I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried.
Free Ticket Friday. Friday. Every Friday now through the end of the season, we are going to give away a 4-pack of Milwaukee Brewer tickets. They are in the Civic Media seats, beautiful seats on the club level. Let me tell you here, when you win these tickets, you're going to get your own escalator, and it looks like an escalator to heaven. It's a big, long escalator. You're going to go by the peons, the general admission. You're going to go right up to the beautiful air-conditioned on the inside of the concourse, club level seats. You've got your own concessions, your own bathrooms. It's much chiller up there, literally and figuratively. And then
The
you're going.
seats are also a little wider and comfier.
They're padded. They're fantastic. And you're going to be right on the third baseline, right below the suites. And then you're going to look into the Brewers dugout. You see the scoreboard. They're fantastic seats. And so those are the seats. You have a chance to win 4 tickets. And the tickets for today that we're giving away are for this coming Wednesday's game, Wednesday, May 21st. Be in the know, this is an afternoon game. It is a 12:10 first pitch game on Wednesday against Baltimore. So please, you have to be able to go to this game this coming Wednesday, May 21st against Baltimore at 12:10, because these tickets are not transferable. So you can't call in or text in and win today and be like, oh, I can't go. Can I get a different game? Unfortunately, no, you cannot. So make sure you can go on Wednesday, May 21st at 12:10 against Baltimore. So here's how it works. You can only do it via the Civic Media app. Download it right now on your Apple or Android device. Go to the App Store. Type in Civic, C-I-V-I-C. It'll come up. Civic Media. Tap it. Download it. Takes less than a minute. It's free. Open it up. The first 11 stations are the ones that we're on. Click on one of those. Then go down to the lower right-hand corner. It'll say text. All right. Click on text. Now you're all set to go. I'm going to give you a word to text in, and not just our show, but the other shows today. The computer at the end of the day will pull one text out randomly, and that is the winner. Here we go. Today's text to win word is season. Season. 'Tis the season for baseball. S-E-A-S-O-N. Season. Now, I said that earlier to Mathers, and he didn't like that. He goes, oh, you're talking about Christmas already. No,
I mean, that is what the season is normally used for.
Well, I'm not normal. Anybody that knows me knows that. I'm not normal.
Okay, fair enough.
No, he's right. But I think 'tis the season for baseball. It's warming up. School's almost done. The word is season. It's baseball season. S-E-A-S-O-N. S-E-A-S-O-N. Text it right now to the Civic Media app, and you will be put into the pool for eligibility. At the end of today, someone is going to win 4 tickets to next Wednesday's game, May 21st against Baltimore at 12:10 p.m. We'll continue to give you that word through the end of the show. You have until 4 o'clock to enter. So the word is season, S-E-A-S-O-N. Text it in right now, and you too could be a big winner. And it's not just our show every Friday. You can tune in to Pat Kreitlow in the morning, whether he's in Portugal or not. You can always tune in to Pat Kreitlow on 6 to 9 a.m. And then we got Matt Nair on air from 9 until 11. We got the Tom Hartman show before us and the Maggie Dawn show after us. And locally, you can also text in to Mino and the Mayor in Green Bay and Oshkosh, and John and Gordy right here in Madison. So all those chances every Friday, and you could text in to every show.
So you get 5 chances every day.
How about that? It just increases your chances. So,
but you know the best part?
What?
It's a statewide contest.
I don't need the attorneys calling me anymore. Thank you. It's a statewide contest. Come on back. We'll continue our discussion here for a Friday. TGIF. We've made it, everybody, to the end of the week. It's the Allbaugh Show across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
for Madison. Real news and great conversation. 92.7 WMDX.
Tons of glass artists share the same passion for eye-catching art as Ignite Glass and Gifts, so we're showcasing their work alongside our talented local artists and our in-house Ignite artists. The latest techniques, the hottest colors, and mind-blowing designs are here for you to enjoy. Madison's favorite for glass, gifts, and vape. Ignite Glass and Gifts. Monona Drive, Williamson Street, and O'Dana Road. Plus, Ignite Glass and Gifts.
How about we come back with a little,
do your eyes a favor and see
what is it? Beatles, right? Well, for every season, turn.
No, it's not the Beatles. It's
Who is that? Who played? Who's? Yeah, it's not
Birds.
Beatles. Is it?
BYRDS.
Oh, yeah.
Where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I
Todd
can.
Michaels.
This message
The
presented
best.
by the WIAA.
Shout out to
Wisconsin
Todd
Athletic
Michaels.
Directors
Thank you,
Association.
Todd.
An unsuspecting driver at a Milwaukee barbershop.
I got an apprentice here shadowing me. I'm put this hot towel on, man. About a good 3 minutes, all right?
The apprentice is Donald Driver.
So when you come here, you drive? Yes. Your car got seatbelts?
Yeah.
You wear them?
No.
Okay.
I
why
was
not?
on Reddit this morning. There was some post about like horrible hiring practices and stuff, just recruiters and things.
Donald Driver
And
can't always be there to remind you.
some people were going off on a tangent about Todd over in accounting and how stupid their Todd was. And I commented and like, funny thing, I work with two Todds, and they're both probably in the top 5 like most trustworthy, professional, hardest working people in the company.
But it's one of those names that people, don't be a Todd, like don't be a Karen. I've heard
Well,
that
we've
before.
got 2 great Todds, so I
Well,
don't know. For me,
one in Todd Michaels. The other Todd
we have
is
2
the-
great Todds.
The giant windows that open, and they won a Best of Madison Gold Award this year.
I love Sugar River.
Pizza on Cabela
About 30
Drive in
seconds.
Sunflower.
Thank you.
The words right out of
There is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep.
For everything there's a season. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 23 now past the hour of 2 o'clock. Zomer's reminding me that's the Birds, right? The Birds sing that song?
Yes, the BYRDS, the birds.
Yes, very good. Great song. Great song. Because the key word to text in to be eligible to win our 4-pack of Milwaukee Brewers tickets for next Wednesday's game, May 21st at 12:10 p.m. against Baltimore, text in the word season. SEASON. Season to everything. There is a season.
Yes, there is a season. There is one season. It is singular, not plural.
Right. And that's a great reminder because a couple of people now, Sue in Franklin on AUK.
She corrected it, though. We're good.
Oh, did she correct it? All right, very good. Because Zomers and I they don't trust us, you understand, to make the choice. So the computer does it. So if it was up to Zomers or I, if you texted in, if you were a letter off, we'd say, well, who cares? But the computer cares. It's only going to pull from the exactly correctly spelled entries. So yes, it is singular. Season. SEASON. Text the word season right now to be eligible for our Friday ticket, a free ticket Friday giveaway for the Milwaukee Brewers seats. This for the game next Wednesday, May 21st at 12:10 p.m. Coming up, as we said, at the bottom of the hour here, just after the news and farm report with Pam Young. Bryn and Mike Schieffer from Faith Lutheran Care in Cameron, Wisconsin will be here in studio. They're in town lobbying the legislature on child care. Going to catch up with them a little bit and talk about that. And then after that, going to get into what I find a beyond disturbing story, that the Department of Homeland Security, good old Kristi Noem, dog shooter that she is considering a reality show where immigrants compete for citizenship. You cannot make this up. We'll discuss that a little bit later. Trump firing the FEMA director. Trump firing the director of the U.S. Copyright Office. Who's going to be left out there? It's chaos. Or as my former classmate back in high school once called it, chaos. Also, here's a little bit of good news for you. Mano Raju from CNN. You know that guy? Very famous reporter. I did not know this. As Johnny Carson once said, he is a University of Wisconsin-Madison alum.
I didn't know that either.
He was in town for the Wis Politics luncheon and revealed his first big break he got was at the Badger Herald. And so we'll talk a little bit about that later on this hour. And we have a quiz for you later on today. A little quiz for you as it pertains to tourism. We're getting into summer now. Lots of places in Wisconsin rely on tourism dollars. We'll have a little quiz for you on tourism coming up as well. Want to give you a couple of Wisconsin headlines. This from Wis Politics. If you don't subscribe, do yourself a favor. Go to wispolitics.com. Wispolitics.com. Covering the Republican Party of Wisconsin convention up in Rothschild this weekend, going on today. Says even with President Donald Trump's win in November, Brian Schimming could soon face a move to remove him. Quote, somebody else needs to have the opportunity that can fundraise and unite the party, unquote. One former Wisconsin GOP leader said, and also said, we really need that ahead of 2026 if we're going to have a chance to take out Tony Evers or the other person if it's not Evers. Goes on there. So lots going on in Rothschild today. The chairman, Brian Schimming, is being challenged by, I know this may sound weird to some people, but even in today's iteration of the Wisconsin Republican Party, there is I would call it the uber MAGA part of it. And then there's kind of the more mainstream Republicans, or more, if you could call it mainstream MAGA. But there's the uber MAGAs that are basically like, if we should do every single thing that Trump tells us to do, period.
Right when he tells us to do it.
Right when he tells us to do it. And then there are other people like Schimming and others who are like, hey, basically, yes, Trump's our leader and we love him, but we have to kind of adapt things here for Wisconsin as well. So he's the uber MAGA part of the party. The challenges are coming from Milwaukee County, Brown County, which is Green Bay, and I think it was Eau Claire County or La Crosse County as well. So big voting blocks within the Republican Party. So we'll see how that goes. On Monday, we're going to be joined by somebody from Wisconsin Watch. Wisconsin Watch will also be at the Republican Party of Wisconsin convention this weekend. So we'll check in. We'll see if as I like to call him, the Shim Sham Man. Tony watching on YouTube says, someone dares challenge the Shim Sham Man. Yes, Tony. Yes. As a matter of fact, they're going to try. So we shall see. We'll let you know on Wednesday whether Brian Arthur Schimming survives that. Here's a bit of bipartisan news quickly for you. We talk about things that don't work. How about this? The state Senate votes to make sharing deepfake nude images a felony in Wisconsin. How about that? Deepfake, of course, is when you use computer AI to basically Photoshop not just an image, but a video. So you could put a pornographic image or a nude image, a body from online, and you create it via AI, and then you put on a real person's face, and you say, oh, look, they're sharing nude images or whatever online. That's a deep fake. So the bill's author says legislation is needed to protect residents as AI capabilities advance. Current law does not cover images of real people generated by artificial intelligence, but Senator Andre Jacques, in his floor speech, cited a DHS study that found that 90% plus of deepfake videos posted online are non-consensual pornography. The bill passed on a 33-0 vote. So there you go. Some good things happening. Come on back, talk child care after this. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show for a Friday on the Civic Media Radio Network.
New choice. Madison's Real News
Nice
and Great
subtle
Conversation,
touch.
92.7 WMDX. You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
Farmers still waiting for a farm bill. Perhaps a little progress this week in Washington, D.C. I'm Pam Yonke with a quick update on what's happening in food and farming news on a Friday. Budget reconciliation's not new, but it hasn't ever been used to reshape a farm bill before. The House Agriculture Committee passed its budget reconciliation this week and wants to have it up for House votes before Memorial Day. Tyler Wensloff, Director of National Affairs with the Wisconsin Farm Bureau Federation, says there are some key provisions farmers were looking for, but also some key provisions that are still missing.
There are a couple things that we would have liked to have seen in answer to California's Prop 12. Prop 12, addresses the maternity pen sizes for hogs and disproportionately affects small farmers. So we could have also seen an indefinite extension to year-round 815. So currently Wisconsin and other Midwestern states rely on yearly extensions by EPA. Having that extension through this, what is essentially a farm bill, could have created additional stability for the biofuels market.
Testy 1 2 test. Yep.
With
All right,
the
thank
Wisconsin Farm Bureau Federation. Right now, we're not sure when the vote is going to come up in the House, and we don't know if the Senate is going to be able to deliver on their plans.
One of your biggest investments, season after season, is high-quality feed. But are you getting the most from it? If you aren't using a silage inoculant to preserve the quality and nutritional value of your high-quality silage, the answer is no. When you pair your high-quality silage with science-based, research-proven Silosolve brand products from Novo Nestle,
you guys
not
choose
only are you
whichever
supporting
chairs you
improved
want
herd health
here.
and performance, but you know you're getting the maximum return on your feed investment.
So you just drive
Talk to
down
your
to
local
there.
dealer about what sets Silosolve inoculants apart. Purchase your silage inoculant.
Beautiful bear in Wisconsin.
Loss of appetite,
Cameron.
milk production, and dehydration are all key
And pronounce
indicators
your
of
last
HbA.
name.
Schieffer.
Schieffer. All right, very good. That's what I had. All right, thank you. I've got to put the headphones on there. We'll see if the volume is too high for you, too low. Test 1 2. I tell people to eat the mic, basically. Yeah. So yeah.
He has no problem with this. I do.
Here, I'll just go.
Closer.
Right.
Okay.
How's your headset volume?
A little bit loud.
A little loud. All right. Testing 1 2. Down. Testing 1 2.
Good.
All right. And for you, Mike.
Down just a little bit.
Testing 1 2. Test. Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Cool. So you guys have Faith Lutheran Childcare, correct?
Yes.
In Cameron. All right. Very good. So yeah, I always like to have people just tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you started the business. I understand you expanded for a time to 2 locations, then after COVID back down to 1, and then just talk a little bit about your experience down here and what these cuts would mean to childcare. And
Okay.
anything else you want to talk about?
All right.
Sweet. All right. Can we get a little what's going out
30
live?
to 40
Thank
miles
you.
per hour. A
Tony
chance of
says he
showers and
lived in
thunderstorms
Cameron for a
does
little
start
bit.
up
How
this
about
afternoon.
that?
They could bring some gusty winds and hail with them. And after that, we cool down for the weekend. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Right now,
So the camera will
78
pick us up
degrees.
is there, but don't worry about it. I tell people just act like we're having
with Pete
a
Schwab.
conversation, and the camera will do its own
Talking
work.
with our
So you don't have to worry
Stewart
about
J.
that.
Waddles.
Did
This
you
is
need
an
water or anything,
episode
or
of
you
Bluey
have
that
some?
Should be
Stewart
good.
turned
Okay, all
into.
right.
I like the show
Thank you.
so
Yep.
much. Would it be weird if I left my wife remarried and had kids with someone else just so I could watch Bluey with my new set of kids?
I don't think it'd be that weird. I've heard a weirder.
You
It'd make a great story.
You get the exclusive.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 6 till 8 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app. The Maggie Dawn Show.
Professor Howard Schwaber.
The point is worth making that an individual government official with the power to unilaterally declare that people in D.C.'s without any opportunity of a hearing of any kind is getting really
Okay, we got
close
30
to the
seconds.
model
Thank you.
rule that the American
wherever it may lead, and having fun doing it. Welcome back to Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. 35 minutes now past the hour of 2 o'clock on this Friday, TGIF May 16th, 2025. Glad to have you along. Zommers on the board, right in the middle of another free ticket Friday. Brewers tickets, 4 of them up for grabs. The beautiful club level seats at AmFam Field. This is for next Wednesday's game, May 21st, against Baltimore. Here's the key. It is a 12:10 afternoon start time, first pitch. So please be sure you're eligible to go or able to go next Wednesday afternoon at 12:10 because we cannot exchange this for a different game. It is only for next Wednesday's game, May 21st, against Baltimore at 12:10. If you're able to go, download the Civic Media app, open it up, go to text on one of the first 11 stations, and the magic word for the next hour and a half or so is season. Text the word season, SEASON. Make sure it is singular. Season. One season. It is the season of lobbying and budget writing here in Madison as we're coming to you from downtown Madison, just a block from the state capitol. Lots of people in town lobbying for different causes as the Joint Committee on Finance puts together the state budget. And been talking about all week here, childcare, one of the things that affects all of us across the state of Wisconsin. And here now joined at the desk, and we're very honored to have them in studio today, are Bryn and Mike Schieffer. They are the founders and owners of Faith Lutheran Childcare in beautiful Cameron, Wisconsin, in Barron County, not too far from our station up in Amory. Bryn and Mike, thanks for coming in. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having us.
Well, we're pleased to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourselves. How long have you been in the Cameron area, and how did you come to start this child care service?
So we moved to Cameron 2007 and joined Faith Lutheran Church about 2009. And in 2010, we were like, hey, this is a great space for a child care center, which I had been doing in home off and on and worked at other centers previously. Went to the church council, and they loved the idea. So September of 2011, we opened up small center, and it grew from there. In 2016, we were able to purchase a second center, and that allowed us to care for infants and toddlers on top of preschool and school-age kids. And when COVID hit, that it had a big impact on our church center, and we ended up closing that down permanently in August of 21. So many dates to remember. So it's been, and so we've been keeping the second center that we purchased. We've been keeping that going since then, but it's slowly getting smaller and smaller, harder and harder to find qualified individuals to work. And the funding that we do have, which is federal funding, is set to run out in July. We have been in town this week basically demanding funding for childcare for the state of Wisconsin, because once that goes away, the estimates are upwards of 25% of centers, licensed or certified centers in Wisconsin, will close down, and the rest will have to raise rates drastically, and working families just can't afford it.
How many families and or children do you care for right now?
So I currently have 24 children, roughly 20 families.
Wow.
And then there's 5 employees. So we're pretty small. I mean, we've been as big as between the two centers, almost 70 children and 16 employees. Wow. And now, yep, it's shrinking down. I have a great base right now. I don't want to see, I don't want to lose that.
But Mike, don't you think this story is not unique, that there are how many, I can't even imagine, probably hundreds of childcare facilities like yours that might take care of 24, 30 children, and you replicate that times hundreds across the entire state. It affects a lot more people than people might think.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I mean, and I'm here more as a representative of support staff, as far as the husbands and families that are there, supporting our wives that are passionate about this and stuff like that. So, we feel it, so lawn care, snow removal, maintenance, things of that nature. That's my role.
So you're kind of the maintenance guy of the operation, and what other parts of the business do you help with?
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
I have my own separate job and stuff otherwise. So,
But you run kind of the business side of it together, or it's more or less you?
Myself, and
Okay.
then we do have like an accountant and
Sure.
things like that. And we are a board-run nonprofit. So any other nonprofits out there that are shying away from standing up for childcare, please stop. Get out there and advocate for us. We need you too.
I'd like to go back to what you said earlier. We're talking with Brendan and Mike Schieffer from Faith Lutheran Childcare in Cameron, Wisconsin, here at our studios. Go back to what you said about you rely on federal funds, but explain to people these aren't necessarily funds that come directly from the federal government. They come through the state, correct?
They do,
Currently,
yes. So it is federal money. That's ARPA money from coronavirus as a response to that. And so this is called Child Care Counts funding. We apply every month. So we get a certain amount per child per staff that we have. Some of the money goes towards staff bonuses, and the rest goes towards daily operating expenses. And like I said, that money is set to run out. Currently, the state of Wisconsin is only one of 6 states that provides there's no state dollars. It's only the
federal dollars.
Yes. And, the fact that they don't provide any money and and this money is running out, how detrimental it will be to the workforce, to every family that counts on us. Like you just said, we're one tiny center, but you replicate that across the state, and you're talking about a workforce without care is an economy that grinds to a halt.
Yeah.
And that was what we were trying to show this week.
As somebody who's not in childcare and doesn't have children of my own, I can appreciate the best I can with you saying, well, we're just one, in your words, a tiny center. But I know people who run centers as big or smaller than yours, and I would kind of argue that. But to those families, you're everything. You might consider yourself a small business, but to those families, you're everything. Because to try to find alternative care, talk a little bit about the situation in Barron County. Is there a wait list for childcare there, like at most places?
Yes, there's always a wait list. Every center that is around, and there is another center in Rice Lake that will be closing very soon, decided that they couldn't stick around for it anymore, in which I completely understand. I'm hoping that we'll come out on the other side and we'll come out successful.
So we also have a very good question from Tony watching on YouTube. He says, has State Senator Quinn helped you out at all?
No. And he has been invited to our center.
We'll get to that in a second, but
Sure.
I wanted to just go back because and this is so fascinating for those of us who might not have kids or not in this industry. When you say that many of the federal dollars now are coming from monies that were approved during COVID. So the question I have is, what did you rely on, or what did you use prior? Were you still getting federal funding prior to COVID, or what was the situation then?
No, the only other funding that comes through is Wisconsin Shares, which is a subsidy for low-income families, but that just offsets their cost. So there's no other funding. It was all based on parent rates. And when our other center closed down, that's when we started going into the red most months, and so that was it. Losing that enrollment is what is slowly eating away at us.
So to make sure I get it right, before COVID, it was 100% or close to it on tuition paid for by parents.
Yes, it was. And I wouldn't say it was good then. We've always been having this fight. Worthy Wage Day, that just happened here. And for childcare, we still don't have worthy wages.
Right.
We're clawing for $13 an hour out of our ask of $480 million. And currently, childcare workers, we're in the bottom 2% of earners. And we have one of the most important jobs. We're raising up the future of the state, the future of our country. And we invest, the state of Wisconsin is investing nothing in them.
So I make sure I have it right. There were no federal dollars or very little prior to COVID. The industry was already probably, I don't want to call it life support, but you were facing challenges.
Yes.
COVID came along. If you want to call it a silver lining, although I hesitate with the devastation of COVID, if there's any silver lining, I guess, is that these funds were made available, which kind of put maybe a temporary Band-Aid on the problem.
They did.
And now that those funds are not being continued by the federal government and the Trump administration, and the state legislature isn't putting money, now we're right back to the crisis mode pre-COVID. Is that right?
Yes. Well, we're definitely in crisis mode now. I mean, with the rising cost of everything, we're in crisis mode.
All right.
And no longer can we, myself, my husband subsidize, doing this, paying for things out of our own pockets, things like that. It's time for the state to step up and recognize us. That was a big thing too when the federal funding did start coming in. Was we felt like for the first time we were seen. We were, that people saw us and valued what we were doing. Asked us, told us, please stay open. Please stay open. Please take care of our first responders and our medical professionals and everybody that had to go to work. And we did it. We did it day in and day out. And it was that was fatigue. Let me tell you, to not know day to day what was going to happen and no help.
Well, I know we had a story from Colby. I know storm struck Chippewa Valley last night. I mean, and those first responders, those EMS people, when we need them, we want them there. Well, if they have children, those kids have to have some place to go.
Yes.
And I think people don't associate that ripple effect often enough. That if the kids don't have, we had a business person on earlier this week that they literally didn't hire someone because the person they wanted to hire didn't have childcare.
Yep.
And so it ripples down in the economy that way as well.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're trying to entice an employee to come from other parts of the country or into your community to support your businesses, they need to have a place to raise their family. And
Yes, we need to be family friendly.
Right. So I understand you guys are part of Wisconsin Early Childhood Action Needed, and we're down here to lobby the state legislature to try to get this. So my understanding is you try to get in to see your Senator Quinn and Representative Armstrong. I know the Assembly has been in session this week.
Yes.
But I've heard the doors have not necessarily been thrown open for you.
Correct. And we have some more stops to make before we head back home today.
I mean, have you met with staff?
Some members of we can have.
And what is your response from these Republican members of the legislature so far, or at least their staff?
Maybe there's concepts of a plan.
Well, that's encouraging, as I say sarcastically. That has to be enormously frustrating because, look, I mean, what is it, 4.5, 5 hour drive for you guys?
What are we, 3 hours?
3 hours.
it was 340 or whatever it is.
But it's a little bit of a hike to get down here. You stayed overnight.
Yes.
And all you're trying to do is meet with your elected official to talk about an issue facing their own district. And the fact that they can't make time for you, to me, is just, as someone who used to be a legislative staffer in that building, is appalling.
Well, and if you request information through listening sessions, 80% of constituents want child care funded.
We'll come back, talk a little bit more with Bryn and Mike Schieffer from Faith Lutheran Child Care in Cameron, Wisconsin. This is the Todd Allbaugh Show for a Friday across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
As Wisconsin has a fish fry on a
Fantastic.
Friday
We'll
night.
got a 2-minute break, then we'll come
This
back
is
and
the
we'll have
Civic
about
Media
6
Radio
minutes on the
Network.
side. Finish up.
And you wanted to talk about the cost of prison.
Oh, yeah. Preschool to prison pipeline.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And there's.
And whether it makes a difference for you or not. I mean, technically, we don't own the center.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
its own independent entity.
Okay.
She created it and
Right.
started it, but it's a true nonprofit.
Yeah, faith-based nonprofit.
Yeah.
It just,
But-
just so whether
I don't know if
you think
anybody-
that's important or not.
No, I appreciate the transparency. But you guys run it. I mean,
Yeah.
We operate
you
it like
created
we
it, yeah.
operate it like we own it.
Yeah.
You know,
but it's run
but it's-
technically through the church.
If it goes out of business, it just disappears.
Right. Right.
You know, or if we sell it, the money goes to charity. I
Right.
mean,
Yep.
Terry Barr on
but
YouTube
yeah,
says,
well, to be honest, they're
she's excited to keep learning more about childcare and how it impacts businesses and their workers this week, and keep talking about this.
Oh, all right, very good. Thank you.
Folks can contact you directly, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
what's the email? Huh?
Yeah,
Okay,
COVID
so it's
definitely
sales at
exacerbated the
WMDX
problems that
radio.
were
Run
Yeah.
that by me again.
already
Sales
there.
at WMDXradio.com.
You know,
So we can
there
put
was
all that
months
together and
that
get into a commercial,
you
get on the air
wouldn't,
soon.
she wouldn't take a
Arthur, my
paycheck,
Friend, I think we just
Wow.
did.
you know,
Advertise on
and then
WMDX
things,
radio.
dust would
Email
settle,
Arthur,
or
sales at
usually it ended up
WMDXradio.com.
being when
It's your
when,
girl, Brandy Grayson, the
employment
hostess
taxes were
with the
due?
mostest of the Black Conversion
Oh,
Show.
well, probably
And I'm
property
inviting
or
taxes.
you
whatever.
to
There'd be something that would come in, and
Urban
there'd be this
Triage
period,
on
and like,
Saturday,
well,
May
we
31st
don't
at
have
the
enough money,
Overton
so
Center
she
for
wouldn't
the
take a
Arts.
paycheck. And
Join us for an
Wow,
elegant night
that-
celebrating
I mean, it truly becomes a service, but I mean, at some point you got to make you have to make a living.
And that's it. You can't
Yeah.
you can't be a martyr.
Right,
We
right.
can't be martyrs anymore. And again, that's why I'm saying most of child care is predominantly women.
Right.
That's just the fact that it is. We're the nurturers, the carers. Our husbands, like I said, subsidize it. You know, they're usually the ones carrying the health insurance, and yeah, I guess that steady income or whatever, predictable income.
Right.
Yeah, but sacrifices that the kids made. I mean, you know, and I'm sure our story is not much different than anybody else's. You know,
Doesn't make it right.
No, not at all.
but
No.
mom works 12 plus hours a day, and so because I was self-employed, I was able to adjust my schedule. You know, but then again, you know, if I'm not working all I can,
30 seconds.
that's income that we're losing too.
Yeah.
You
All
know.
right, thank you. All right, here we go. Pursuing truth wherever it may lead and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. It is now 8 minutes before the hour of 3 o'clock. At the top of the hour, ABC and CBS News. Check out weather. Mike Clemens, our great sports reporter. And then back in hour 2, what's the worst question today? Do you tend to lose things? We'll talk about that in hour 2. A little bit more news for you and some fun along the way to end it up in hour 2 as well. Right now we are here in studio at World Headquarters in downtown Madison of Civic Media. And in studio we have Bryn and Mike Schieffer. They are the owners of Faith Lutheran Childcare in Cameron, Wisconsin. I guess technically owned by the church, but you guys founded it and run it every day. But I think it's a creative concept because it's a 501c3, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
what you do it through there. But you're the ones that really do the day-to-day operations.
Yes. Well, it was a ministry of the church.
Mhm.
You know, when I came to them because there was a need in our community. You know, we had a congregation of how many hundred and some people that were like, yes, let's do this. Let's focus on this. And you know, so again, we need to see that collectively, people coming together and supporting the children in our state.
And as someone who grew up in a faith community, I'm not sure there's a better actual tangible example of true Christianity than taking care of children and taking care of each other. I mean, some people might not connect that to a faith or religion, but to me, that's as a very, very imperfect Christian myself, that seems to be a fundamental tenet of Christ, is to take care of people.
Yes, absolutely.
So the irony is not lost on me. Some of the people a block up the street under the Capitol Dome of my former party that I left in 2011, who like to parade around a lot, you know, reminds me a little bit, not to get too biblical, of Pharisees that, you know, like to talk a lot about God and religion, but they don't seem to want to practice it when it comes to putting their mouth or money or their vote where their mouth is. And to me, if you truly are a person of faith, you would want to make sure that we take part of the $4 billion surplus in the state and fund basic child care.
Yes.
I mean, is that too much?
Yeah. Apparently it is. No, it is not too much. Matter of fact, the ask should be even bigger than the 480 million that we're seeking. Quality childcare is extremely important. There's varying numbers about the return on investment. For every dollar spent on childcare, what our returns are. And there's, I've heard numbers between $7 and $13, dollars per dollar that we're spending.
Right.
That's phenomenal. What's the return on investment when we send people to prison? Can we stop investing in that and start investing in our children, in our future?
Well, if you don't want to disclose, that's fine. But we had one of our viewers had a question. Just roughly, what's the cost now for the tuition for a child that goes to daycare?
So up by me, and I know that we're a little on the higher side, it's $250 a week for an infant, and then school age for full time is around $200. And I know down here it might be a little closer to $300 a week for an infant.
Yeah. I think I know somebody in Milwaukee is paying like $25,000 a year.
Yeah, that's that's one child.
Right.
You start talking about 2 or 3, making childcare affordable for everybody, not just certain people. And I know a big thing on the Republican platform is to not raise taxes, to not take money out of the working man's pocket. You don't invest in childcare, we don't have childcare, it's coming out of your pocket one way or another. Somebody could lose their entire income because grandparents aren't around to babysit, aunts and uncles aren't around to babysit. Most people don't have that luxury. Quite a few families in my center, they've said they don't know what they would do if we close because they're not around extended family. Unless we start, they want to send their kids to the bargain basement, unlicensed daycare. Good luck. Now you have accidents happening and other bad things.
Your state senator Quinn, Representative Armstrong might not want to meet with you. I do know for a fact there are some Republicans that listen to this show. I'll give you each about a minute. We're up against the clock here. What would you like to say to Republican senators and representatives on this issue?
Invest in childcare now. You need us. The state needs us. The children need us first and foremost, but the parents and the employers. Everybody needs us. Our economy runs on childcare.
Mike?
I would agree. And, people might not be showing it with the way they vote currently, but when things start to hurt, maybe their eyes will get opened up and you may not want that.
I have a friend of mine who lives in the Milwaukee area, and she and her husband have one child, and they said they're paying $450 a week this fall for a 2-year-old, and they have friends with 2 kids, and it's $47,000 a year in the Milwaukee area.
And I think Barron County is one of the lowest rates, in the state. So it wouldn't surprise me, obviously, when you get into these areas that those costs grow substantially.
Yeah. I think that people that don't have children have no idea of the cost.
Correct.
And then people, again, because you don't walk in someone else's shoes, we have the audacity to judge and say, well, why isn't that person working? What's the big deal? And they don't understand that it takes so much of the income just to take care of the child. And to your point, Bryn, that the family networks, the grandparents and things, people have had smaller families, and those opportunities aren't there.
Yes.
So it would seem to me that you're literally doing God's work, in my opinion. So thank you both for what you do. Thanks for making the trip down here. Thanks for coming on our show. And I want to continue to follow this. If we could be helpful to get the word out, to clarify things, we're here for you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on and helping us get the message out. Because yes, you just said it. The people that maybe they're not faced with it every day, they don't understand it. Hopefully this gives them a little more understanding. Talk to somebody. Talk to somebody that has children. Ask them what their struggles are and how you can help.
We appreciate you. Bryn and Mike Schieffer from Faith Lutheran Child Care in Cameron, Wisconsin. Thanks for being part of what makes Wisconsin great. Safe travels back up there. It's a beautiful part of the state. All right. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Come on back, everybody. We're going to have hour number 2. What's worse, lost keys or a lost phone? I'm reading my next notes, but I can't find them. Come on back. It's hour number 2 of this Todd Allbaugh show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
This is 92.7 WMDX Columbus, Madison's home for real news and great conversation. A civic media station.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Former FBI Director James Comey under investigation by the Secret Service for a social media post showing a picture of a shell formation in the number 8647. The White House called it a threat to the president. ABC's Jack Date has more.
He took down that photo shortly after it started blowing up on the internet with allies of the president, people close to him, interpreting that photo of the shells on the beach as some sort of threat. And he replaced that with a statement saying that he posted the photo, understanding that it was a political message, but he says that he didn't really understand that some might see this as called or associated with violence.
The president returning from his 4-day trip to the Middle East and says the U.S. and Iran nuclear talks are getting closer to a deal, Iran disputing the president's optimism. A manhunt continues in New Orleans after a jailbreak today. Authorities say 11 suspects being held escaped. One escapee, though, has already been captured. This is ABC News.
This is your local civic media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us.
For Civic Media News, I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. The entire state endured a severe weather outbreak, with over 30 tornado warnings issued last night. Now, the National Weather Service offices are out surveying the damage. NWS Twin Cities is looking at St. Croix County, where a tornado was reported seen on the ground, with pictures and videos of it near the town of Roberts, and it looked to be headed towards New Richmond. The skies were green, and this is just 45 minutes outside of Minneapolis. Meanwhile, near Eau Claire in Altoona, softball-sized hail came crashing through windows, busting out windshields on cars, and doing some damage. NWS in La Crosse is in Clark County today, looking at 3 to 4 different spots where twisters may have struck, like Loyal to Colby, which is just about 35 minutes west of Wausau. And the NWS Green Bay is in Marathon County in the Rib Falls area, surveying damage and possible touchdowns in Cronenwetter too. Ping pong ball-size hail was reported near there, as well as Stevens Point, where strong rotation was also seen near Plover. The NWS Milwaukee is in Juneau and Mayville in Columbia County, which is about an hour away from downtown Milwaukee. There, roofs are reported ripped off of homes, damage to buildings, power lines down, and trees. Before Thursday, the state had seen 7 tornadoes so far this year on April 28th.
Yes, Terry,
3 of
we
them were
fully
rated
intend to
EF1s
keep talking
and
about
4
this
were
because it is
EF0.
incredibly important,
EF1 tornadoes
and
have wind gusts of
we just
86
hear the
to
same
110 miles per
heartbreaking
hour.
story so many times,
Enhanced Fujita scale
and
damage
it's
indicators. So a tornado is actually rated on the
I
damage
don't know.
it does.
It's hard to
This
have
could take
words
some time. I know that the National
for
Weather
how
Service offices are
short-sighted
still planning to look at more areas tomorrow.
it is to
too.
not fund
For Civic
childcare,
Media News,
and
I'm
being one of the
meteorologist
last
Brittany
6
Merlot.
states that still won't do it is very frustrating.
The Brewers are back home. Hi, I'm Mike.
Testing 1, 2, testing 3,
Brewers
4.
back from the road trip host the Minnesota Twins tonight in Milwaukee. Chad Patrick on the mound for the Crew against the Twins' Joe Ryan. The Brewers coming off that much-needed 9-5 win Wednesday in Cleveland. Better defense, better pitching, and driving in runners in scoring position. Christian Yelich.
You know, that's what we got to do if we want to be a good team. I think it's shown up at times this year. It just hasn't shown up consistently or as consistently as we would like. But, you know, you just got to keep striving to get there and have it all click.
NFL Packers off-season practices continue in Green Bay without defensive back Jair Alexander. His position coach, Derek Ansley, asked, does he still keep in contact with Jair?
Every day. Every day we have contact every morning. I send him a positive quote. Sometimes it's a scripture. Sometimes it's just something that somebody sends me and I forward it to him. But yeah, we have contact every morning.
That's Packers secondary coach Derek Ansley. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
Sunny and still warm today with high temperatures tapping 80 degrees and breezy too, gusting around 30 to 40 miles per hour. A chance of showers and thunderstorms does spark up this afternoon. They could bring some gusty winds and hail with them. And after that, we cool down for the weekend. I'm meteorologist Brittany Merlot. Right now, it's 75 degrees.
Honey, the TV's too loud.
What? I can't hear you over the TV.
If this sounds like your house, it's time to visit Madison Hearing Aid Center. They'll help you turn down the TV and the arguments. With technology utilizing AI and a team that actually listens, they'll have you hearing things you didn't even know you were missing.
Well, that shirt looks nice on you.
I haven't heard that in 20 years.
Visit MadisonHearingAidCenter.com.
Friday nights are for fish fry at the Lazy Oaf Lounge. Enjoy baked or fried cod, deep fried bluegill and lake perch, warm bread out of the oven with some tasty side
Now I
dishes.
really want
Plus, the
a fish
Lazy
fry.
Oaf Lounge is a great place for lunch with great daily specials.
All I gotta
soups
hear
made from
is fish
scratch,
fry,
fast,
and then
friendly
I
service.
just-
The Lazy
Right.
Oaf Lounge,
I have such a weakness for it.
1617 North Stoughton Road in Madison.
I
Find
and
specials,
many other
menus,
Wisconsinites.
and more
Right, got
at
about 20 seconds.
LazyOafLounge.com.
Live from the Civic Media World Headquarters in Madison, Wisconsin, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Across Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide across the world on the Civic Media app. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show for a Friday, TGIF, May 16th, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite. Overcast skies right now in downtown Madison, the world headquarters, along with Aaron Zommers, our producer and engineer. Welcome into hour number 2 of the big program. How about Bryn and Mike Schieffer, Zommers?
That was
Fantastic
great.
folks.
I mean, yes, fantastic people, fantastic business owners. Like you said, literally doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
Doing probably the most important job there is, taking care of kids.
Right.
And just we hear the same or very similar heartbreaking stories so many times across our state and the country, but especially here.
It's a statewide
It's-
issue, and I don't care
it's
whether you have
heartbreaking.
kids or not. Even if you're somebody like me that doesn't have kids, childcare is going to affect us one way or the other, whether it's in terms of hiring someone, not hiring someone, having places that are under or no staff at all. Childcare is a necessity. And if you weren't with us in the first hour, you can always go back and listen to us at civicmedia.us. Go to our show page and you can hear the podcast form of it. It was really a great conversation with Bryn and Mike Schieffer of Cameron, Wisconsin, childcare providers up there at First Lutheran Childcare in beautiful Barron County. I wanted to, before we move on, because I thought this was really, really important, we were talking about the costs up there. And after we got off the air, they said, Bryn and Mike said, one of the Republicans' attacks on us, basically, knocks on us, is that we're not charging enough. That it's an unsustainable model because we're not charging enough. Compared to, as I said before, a friend that pays a lot more in the Milwaukee area. But Corrine Hendrickson, who was on the show earlier this week, she on Facebook is watching and says it's important to note that rural counties cannot charge as much as we don't have the family income to sustain it. But we still have the costs. It varies widely. SupportingFamiliesTogether.org has a state map. So SupportingFamiliesTogether.org. So be aware of that. Oh, people calling in on my cell phone though, instead of the over the air phone. I should turn that down. If you want to call in, talk a little bit more about this, 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. But Corrine brings up a great point. Coming from a rural county myself in southwest Wisconsin and knowing people there that do childcare, if they charge the same prices that, say, someone in Milwaukee County is charging, they wouldn't have any clients. Or they go out of business because folks in that part of the state, other parts of the state, just can't afford, their wages aren't commensurate with the prices of childcare in the Milwaukee area, for the most part. So there is a bit of regionality to childcare depending upon what incomes are where in different parts of the state. So really appreciate Kareen watching and calling in about that. 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Let's go to Lori listening on WMDX here in Middleton. Lori, thanks for calling. What do you want to add?
I was just telling your producer that I'm just so impressed with just the staff and the guests and what have you that are on civic media. Just they're just good souls. And I don't hear the vitriol and the hate that I hear on other right-wing stations. I mean, it's like truly about goodness and kindness and helping. And it's just a breath of fresh air. That's all I can say. And I so appreciate you all.
Well, you made my day, Lori. Thank you for your listenership. Thanks for calling in. That means so much to me because, look, I'm not always right, but as we say, we pursue the truth, and I want to do it in a meaningful way. It doesn't mean that I might not have opinions or other people, but I want to do it thoughtfully and not in a mean way. And I hope to get information, right? That's the thing we're really trying to get out is honest, truthful, accurate information to lift us all up and do it a little bit of fun along the way and realize that we're all in this together. So, Lori, really appreciate you. Have a great weekend, all right? Thank you so very much.
You also, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Well, how about that, Zommers? I mean, those are we love that. And thank you very much for calling in and voicing that support. Before we go any further, let me remind you, we are smack dab in the middle of Free Ticket Friday. That's right. We have 4 Milwaukee Brewers club level seats up for grabs. Now, it's important to remember, you cannot exchange the tickets we're giving away today for a different day. So you have to be able to go this coming Wednesday, May 21st, against the Baltimore Orioles, 12:10. First pitch, 12:10. All right, so make sure you can go in the afternoon. But then we have 4 tickets up for grabs. We're going to give them away at the end of today. To enter, text the word season, SEASON, season. Text it right now to the Civic Media app. If you don't have it, go to your app store and type in Civic Media. It takes less than a minute. It's free. Open it up. First 11 stations are the ones that we're on. Click on that, then click on the word text and text the word season, SEASON right now. And at the end of the day, we will draw for those 4 Milwaukee Brewer tickets. Coming up a little bit later, I'm going to talk about a serious story. I know some people think it's funny. I'll explain why I don't think it's funny. But Kristi Noem, remember her? Hair extensions, former governor of North Dakota, likes to make, she plays cosplay. That's costume play. She plays police officer because she goes out on these quote unquote raids and she wears the regalia acting like she's a police officer. And many actual police officers or military people are always calling her out online on Twitter saying, you don't know how to wear a flak jacket. You don't know how to aim a rifle. She's a cosplayer. She's a fake. All right. When it comes to law enforcement type of stuff, but she does it for, and I'm not trying to be, I guess I am being derogatory, but I mean, it's like glamour shots for cops, basically, when it comes to how she presents herself online. It's all about the clicks.
You know, I think calling her a cosplayer is an offense to cosplayers because they represent things that they love and do a lot of research into making it right. And clearly she has not done that.
She has not done that. And of course, she was the former governor of North Dakota that shot her puppy dog because it wouldn't stop barking. And now she's the head of the Department of Homeland Security. Well, she has a new, she's working with remember Duck Dynasty? Great moments in TV history. I say that sarcastically. Duck Dynasty producers are working with Kristi Noem now, apparently, and they're considering a reality show where immigrants compete for citizenship. We'll explain. I kid you not. Also, I'll give you a quiz here in a bit on Wisconsin tourism. Tell you why the Trump actions in D.C. are going to have an effect on places like Wisconsin Dells and Door County and all those great tourist destinations. And Manu Raju, a University of Wisconsin-Madison grad, got his first big scoop here in Madison, all that and more. But right now, it's 14 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Time once again to play What's Worse. Let's go.
This or that, this or that. Then, of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that.
Time once again for What's Worse. Nothing to give away, no prize money involved, but it is your chance to have your voice heard. across all 11 news talk stations in the state of Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network, the second largest radio network in Wisconsin, behind only our friends at Wisconsin Public Radio. No better opportunity to have your product sold than advertising with us at Civic Media. Go to civicmedia.us to find out how. All right, timely indeed. I'm going to be on the road this weekend, Zommers, going up to Shawano. That's not how you say it. Shawano. I'm going to Shawano, just west of Green Bay. Going up to see Dad and Mary, my stepmom, hang out with them a little bit. And inevitably, when I go on the road, I misplace things. All right? And so today's category, what's worse, lost phone or lost keys? What's worse, a lost phone or lost keys? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. What's worse, when you lose your phone or when you lose your keys? 855-752-4842. Also, give us a text on the old Civic Media app. Excuse me. I'm burping here. What's going on? All I have is water and coffee. You understand? I'm not drinking any other adult beverages on the air.
Maybe. Did you earlier?
No, I didn't.
No, I know.
I'm not a day drinker, for goodness sake.
I know. That's past John. No, I'm kidding. I only say that because
maybe next week. Maybe next week, because we're. So here's the deal. I'll let everybody in a little secret. Kreitlow's on vacation, but he's going to be back next week. So we're going to do this show. We're on the road for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week. On Wednesday of next week, we're going to do the show from the town of Dunn, just outside the city of Oregon, here in Dane County. We're going to be at Kopke's Greenhouse, one of our great sponsors here at Civic Media. In fact, I was just down there this morning, bought some plants to take up to Shawano. And we're going to be down talking to Gordy Kopke and his son-in-law Josh, who helps now run the place. Great place, local greenhouse, talking about their big event for the Badger Honor Flight. They do this every Memorial Day weekend where you come out, they got live music and they got concessions, and then they have an auction for one of these beautiful planters. And these things are worth about $80 to $100 if you go out and buy them. But they're going to auction out. All the proceeds go to Badger Honor Flights to get our veterans out to Washington, D.C. to be honored. So it's a great fundraiser. We're going to be down in Kopke's Greenhouse on Wednesday of next week talking about that. Going to have a lot of fun. And then on Thursday and Friday of next week, we're going up to Eau Claire, the Chippewa Valley, and do the show from up there. And if the weather holds, there is a chance we will do the show from Pat Kreitlow's pontoon boat next Friday.
Fingers and toes crossed.
As my friend and former broadcast partner Kevin O'Connor is fond of saying, great potential for disaster. It can go either way. So we'll see. It could be the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, but we hope not. 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Let's go to beautiful Brookfield, Wisconsin. Listening on WAUK, Jim in Brookfield. Jim, lost keys or lost phone? What's worse?
Well, speaking from someone who's lost both, probably more than once, I would have to say the keys are worse because if you do lose the phone, at least you can drive the car to where you think you might have lost it. You can also have somebody call that phone. But if you lose those keys, you are locked out of your car. You're not going anywhere. Or if it's the home key, heaven forbid, you're not getting into that house. So
Right.
I would have to say lost keys are worse.
I appreciate, Jim, before you go, where's the weirdest place you ever found your keys?
At the trailhead at Lapham Peak State Park, at the ski trailhead. It was in the middle of winter. I was about to ski a race out there, and I noticed, oh my God, I lost my keys because I was in such a hurry to pull my skis out of the car. Fortunately, some young youth skier, the kids race, said, "Mister, are these yours?" and pulled them up out of a snowbank, and there were my keys.
Wow, that's good. I mean, yeah, it's well. I'm gonna wait till we're up against the clock. Gonna do a break. I'll come back and I'll share with everybody the time I lost my keys and almost my mind, and I'll tell you where I ultimately found them.
Your mind? Your marbles?
No, well, I still haven't found those, but yeah, I've lost my keys. It drives you crazy, right? And I'm reminded of the old George Carlin bit, Well, he said one time, My mom said, well, I lost the dog. And she went to say, well, it didn't just get up and walk away. Well, it just got up and walked away. Come on back. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show for a Friday. Right in the middle of what's worse, lost phone or lost keys. 855-752-4842. Give us a call. More after this on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Tom Harbin here. You're listening to 92.7 WMDX.
Hi, Gordy Kopke here. When I first invited folks to
Well, look at
my
that,
farm
right on
30
cue.
years ago, I could never have dreamed that would become the area's largest greenhouse.
What's right
With
on
a
cue?
focus on quality
The Gordy
plants
Kopke.
at reasonable
yeah.
prices and a special emphasis on customer service, we have received the People's Choice Award as Madison area's best greenhouse. Located 2 miles east of Oregon in the beautiful town of Dunn, I invite you out to see why we are not only the area's largest greenhouse, but also the best.
I'm hungry. What's cooking?
Oh, no, not me. It's your turn.
Oh, we're back to taking turns?
Yes.
Well, how about Sugar River Pizza?
Oh, yeah, now they can cook.
I could really go for some of that 12-hour smoked pulled pork.
Ooh, and some pasta. Okay, now I'm hungry. Sugar River, here we come.
And they have that great kids menu, too.
We don't have any kids.
Right. That's beside the point. The point is, I'm hungry, you're hungry.
Let's go.
Yes. And we should talk about having some kids.
Get in the car, Bob. Sugar River, Sun Prairie, Verona, New Glarus, and catering.
You know Ignite Glass and Gifts 3 locations in Madison, but you can also shop IgniteGlassandGifts.com. You'll find grinders, lighters, collectibles, hand-blown glass water pipes, artistically designed jewelry, and plenty of other items delivered straight to your door or to family and friends. Madison's favorite for glass, gifts, and vape, Ignite Glass and Gifts, Monona Drive, Williamson Street, and Odana Road. Plus IgniteGlassandGifts.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Wisconsin. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the WIAA and the Wisconsin Athletic Directors Association.
The gym is just hasn't cleared yet, right?
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Y'all gon' make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me go all out. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me act a fool. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gon' make me lose my cool. Up in here, up in here.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Zommers cut that off very, very quickly. 22 now past the hour of 3 o'clock. What do you dial up there, Zommers?
Party Up by DMX, just because, it talks about losing your mind. And,
Oh, well, yeah.
for
People that know me
losing
well
a lot
know
of
that
things.
I often lose my mind. We're talking about losing things. What's worse, lost phone or lost keys? Weigh in. 855-752-4842. 855-752.
Something has happened. It appears that Todd is no longer audible.
Oh, really? Are you serious?
Oh, now we can.
All
No,
right.
It was
What?
briefly your microphone stopped working. Never mind. We're good.
Lots of things have stopped working with Todd.
We lost the connection momentarily, is what I think happened.
My sister listening up in beautiful Eau Claire after getting out of school here. She's a teacher. She says the song in every teacher's head at the end of May. The
It's all gonna make me lose my mind up in here.
Yeah. What's worse, lost phones or lost keys? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Or text us on the Civic Media app. All right, so before the break, I once lost my car keys, my truck keys. I drive a Dodge Ram. And this has been several years ago now. And I came and I'd come home, I'd run some errands, I'd gone grocery shopping, and then I was going to go out later in the evening, and I could not find my keys. And I'm like, where on earth And I tore everything up. I went through like dirty clothes piles, even though I hadn't changed my clothes. You look in the stupidest places. Like, did I throw them in the trash can? I went down to my truck. The truck was locked. I looked inside. Did I leave them? No, I couldn't have left them inside because I needed it to get into my apartment. So they had to be in the apartment. Well, finally, to bring the story to the close, I finally found them. I opened up the freezer and I had put the keys because I don't know, I put like whatever, Eggos or ice cream or something in the freezer I bought. And I must have had them in my hand. And just in a rush, I put the keys in the freezer. and that was several years ago. And I thought, good gosh, do I need to go get myself checked? But you panic, right? When you lose
weird
these things.
when you're in a rush. Yeah.
So how about you, Zombers? Go ahead.
Ellen in Cedarburg called in. I don't know if I accidentally hung up on her or what, but we seem to have lost Ellen in Cedarburg. If you want to call back in, we'll definitely take your call. Otherwise, I'll share what she said with me.
I will call in, Ellen. And Cedarburg has a great cheese factory as well, by the way. Cedarburg cheese. Give us a call back, Ellen. We will not hang up on you this time. All right, Zombers, what's worse, lost phone or lost keys?
I think, I don't know. I think I'm going to have to go with lost phone being worse. If it's dead, if you don't have an easy way to find it, because if you lose your keys, you can call somebody else to pick you up or whatever.
True.
But at the same time, I know that you can also have someone call your lost phone if it's not dead. I don't know. It's a tough one because either can help you get the other.
Yes, I absolutely agree. I'm going to go though with one of our earlier callers. I think if I lose my phone, especially now with the newer iPhone I got here this year, I upgraded. And so it has to find my phone and all that. So I feel like I have panicked if I misplace my phone. But if I lose my keys, I can't, especially if I'm out somewhere, I can't get into my truck. I can't get into my apartment. I don't know. I feel more helpless, I think, when I lose my keys. A couple more calls here, 855-752-4842. Here we go. Ellen in Cedarburg calling back. Ellen, I'm sorry we hung up on you earlier, but thanks for calling back. Lost phone or lost keys? What's worse?
Well, they're both awful, and they happen to me all the time. I would say lost keys because with a phone, as my daughter taught me, somebody else can call the phone. And if your phone is on, then you'll find it.
Yeah, great point.
That's a rather dull answer, but that's...
No, that's a very practical and good answer. So I appreciate that. By the way, what's your favorite Cedarburg cheese?
Oh, my gosh. It would have to be Parmesan.
Really? All right, that's interesting. I've never tried that before, but I'll give it a try. You have great cheese up there in Cedarburg. All right, thank you, Ellen. Have a great weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so very much. Yep, appreciate you. One more here. Tony on watching on YouTube says keys are worse when you lose them. You could drive to work without your phone. Great point, Tony. Absolutely. All right, that wraps up.
Maybe being convinced.
That wraps up another edition of What's Worse here for today. We'll be back on Monday with a brand new edition of that. Want to mention this quickly here before we get out of here at the end. Have a news update. We'll come back with this more serious story on Kristi Noem. But Manu Raju, great reporter at CNN, was back in Wisconsin at a WisPolitics luncheon this week, and he's a Badger. I did not know this. He graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and he broke a legendary story in 1999 before he ascended to CNN as an anchor and the network's chief congressional correspondent. Now, I'll kind of summarize this quickly, but back on November 13th, 1999, at the Wisconsin versus Iowa football game at Camp Randall, Ron Dane broke the NCAA's all-time rushing yards record, and that was the big story. But as it turns out, he did the Heisman at the 50-yard line that let him run all the way to the 100 yards down the field, and the crowd was going crazy. And nobody knows who it was because it was pre-iPhone. They didn't show it on TV. I'm not talking about Ron Dane, by the way. I'm talking about a guy who was a streaker who ran out on the field butt naked. But Raju knew, and he interviewed Tim Condon for the Badger Herald, identifying the streaker, and that was his first big story. Raju said, and then he became a true campus legend. People were having house parties for him, raising money to pay off his fines he'd gotten. He was the news.
Wow.
So you never know what your big break is going to be. For Manu Raju, it was the Camp Randall Streaker. Back with more serious news after this. It's the Allbaugh Show for a Friday. You're listening to Civic Media all across the great state of Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Real news and
That's incredible.
Isn't that great?
7 WMDX. Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
When it comes to growing Wisconsin agriculture, international trade plays a key role. That's why Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection Secretary Randy Romanski is working to expand
22 minutes ago, Midas Touch tweeted, breaking, the Supreme Court just blocked Trump from using the Alien Enemies Act to deport Venezuelan immigrants without due process, for now. A 7-2 decision with Thomas and Alito dissenting, and the case is going back to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals.
Wow, interesting. All right, thank you.
Forestry and agriculture have been the highest 4 years on record in Wisconsin. That means people around the world are finding the great products that Wisconsin farmers and processors have to offer. And that's great. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. I mean, step number 1 is you got to have the quality products. Step number 2 is having more than just 1 or 2 products is really important. So we get to talk about all of these products that come from Wisconsin, and that is a great thing to build off of.
Once again, that's Wisconsin Secretary of Agriculture, Randy Romanski, along with us. I'll have a look at your closing markets right after
they
this.
are what is worse.
Giving back.
Tony
It's at the
comments,
heart
Thomas
of
and
the
Alito
Wisconsin
are worse.
farmer, and it starts with supporting the backbones of our community. That's why the Wisconsin Soybean Marketing Board invests in soy foam
I really
for
wish
our
that
firefighters.
Clarence
Soy
Thomas
foam
took up John Oliver's offer
TF1122 is the first
to
and
quit
only
and get a
firefighting
salary
foam
for the rest of his life and a brand new
green
motor
certified
coach.
at the gold level. As a PFAS-free firefighting foam, it's safe for you and the environment. A safe future for your community. Thanks to your soy checkoff. Learn more at wisoybean.org.
Don't let sick calves get you down and drain your profits. Get your calves up and moving with BioVet's Calf Electrolyte. Our Baselite product contains balanced electrolytes for restoring and maintaining proper fluid levels and scouring calves. Baselite also provides additional energy to support recovery. It's easy to mix, and calves are easy to drink it down to the last drop. Learn more
It
about
was
Baselite
indeed a
at
very fancy RV, but it's not an RV, it's a motor coach. You don't want to have the same kind of vehicle as the Peons. You have to call it something different so you can feel fancier.
For the Midwest Farm Report with a look at your closing markets. Cash corn closed at $4.43.5, down 5 cents, and new crop corn closed at $4.35.5, down 3 1/4. Cash beans closed at $10.50, that was down 1 1/4 cents, and new crop beans closed at $10.35.5, up 1/4. And July wheat closed at $5.25, down 7 3/4. On the dairy side of things, June Class 3 milk contract is trading at $19.18 a hundredweight. That is down 20 cents. And July milk is trading at $19.15 a hundredweight, and that is down 21 cents. Barrel cheese closed at $1.88. That was up 6 cents. 40-pound block cheese closed at $1.93. That was up 3 1/4 cents. And the double A butter closed up a penny and closed at $2.34 1/4. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Charity Seebecker.
You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Cloudy tonight, some showers around, even a few thunderstorms and breezy, lows in the upper 40s to 50. For tomorrow, a mostly cloudy day early, then some afternoon sunshine. Highs 60 to 65. Partly sunny for Sunday, highs in the low to mid 60s. Right now it's 80.
Teachers are dynamic leaders shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org supported by the U.S. Department of Education and 1 million teachers of color.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
LFG, baby. Let's
We also
go.
still have all that
Do you know
audio.
who the king of LFG
Yeah,
is?
I know.
Tom Brady.
Thank you.
Before every game, he runs to the crowd, screams
I have a
LFG,
bad habit,
fist bumps, and
Summers,
runs
of-
back.
He could be saying, let's
I don't want to say
floss
over preparing, but like having too much on the table. And now I got a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings I got to do here,
Oh,
plus the breaking
fun.
news. So we'll try to get stuff in.
About 20 seconds.
Thank you. Welcome back to the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. It is now 35 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. Glad to have you along. Aaron Zommers on the board. Going to get to this story on Kristi Noem in a minute. But first, some breaking news and also some special weather statements I want to pass along to you. We talked about this at the top of the show, that after the thunderstorms and tornadic activity that rolled through the state yesterday, there was a chance for kind of more pop-up garden variety showers and thunderstorms and a possibility of severe weather this afternoon. And now that is happening, and we want to bring you up to speed on this. I want to start, first of all, for our listeners on WISS in Oshkosh, WGBW in Green Bay. And Zommers, this is for your old hometown area, the Manitowoc area. There is now a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 4 p.m. for Manitowoc County. At 3:32, a severe thunderstorm was located near Manitowoc, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail have been associated with this storm. So if you're in the Manitowoc area and Two Rivers area, certainly get to shelter and be inside at this time. Again, a severe thunderstorm warning for Manitowoc County until 4 p.m. this afternoon. Then moving closer for our WMDX listeners in the Madison area, there is now a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 4:15 this afternoon for southeastern Iowa County and western Dane County. And looking at the radar there is a severe thunderstorm right now, basically right on 18151 between Dodgeville and Mount Horeb. And that storm, like the Manitowoc storm, is moving northeast right now. And so towns in the path of this storm, certainly in the Mount Horeb area, Barneveld right now, parts of Verona, Middleton, Wanakee, and the city of Madison will be right kind of on the edge of that storm. So be aware that that thunderstorm warning lasts until 4:15 this afternoon. Those are the only official severe thunderstorm warnings right now in effect across the state of Wisconsin. They have a special weather, and well, they actually just upgraded it from a weather advisory now to another severe thunderstorm warning. This one in effect until 4:15 this afternoon for Waukesha County. So our listeners on WAUK in the Waukesha County area, this is for you. Waukesha County, also southeastern Jefferson County. So parts of MDX listening area there. So again, that one lasts until 4:15 this afternoon. Zooming in our radar right now, we can see that the storm is just right around the Palmyra area, and that is moving east-northeast right now. So areas in that path of that storm are Rome, Eagle, Ottawa, North Prairie, Dousman, Summit, and then Waukesha area, Pewaukee area, Heartland, and eventually Brookfield. So be aware of that. That's a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 4:15 this afternoon. So if you're in the Waukesha area, certainly in the Jefferson County area, also in parts of eastern Iowa County and western Dane County, including ultimately the city of Madison, and then Manitowoc County, also all under a severe thunderstorm warning at this time. Also for listeners on WGBW, in just north of there, our good friend Pete Schwaba in the Marinette area, just kind of west of Marinette. There is also a severe, they don't qualify as severe, but they're calling it a strong thunderstorm right now for Marinette, Menominee, Akanto area. And that storm is moving through there. It's strong, but not severe at this time. So hopefully not as destructive as yesterday's storms, but wanted to bring you that. There is a cluster of stronger to severe weather moving from, say, Reedsburg, Wisconsin and southwest Wisconsin down to the Illinois line. And all of that is headed to the east-northeast right now. So be aware of that. We'll continue to update you as we go through the afternoon. Also, breaking news over the wires at this time. Many thanks to Zommers for giving me the heads up on this. The U.S. Supreme Court this afternoon has blocked President Donald Trump from moving forward with deportations under the 1798 Alien Enemies Act for a group of immigrants in northern Texas, siding with Venezuelans who feared they were poised for imminent removal under the sweeping wartime authority. The decision is a significant loss for Trump, who wants to use the law to speed up deportations and to avoid the kind of review normally required before removing people from the country. But the decision is also temporary and underlines legal fights over the president's invocation of the invocation has continued simultaneously in multiple federal courts across the country. No doubt Maggie Dawn will have updates on this, being the attorney that she is on her show. But again, the breaking news at this hour, according to the wires, the U.S. Supreme Court blocking President Trump from moving forward with deportations for now under the 1798 Alien Enemies Act this afternoon. So lots of news going on, as it always seems to on a Friday, but we'll keep you up to date on the weather and on the news as we move throughout the afternoon. Also, don't forget we're running out of time now on today's free ticket giveaway, at least for our portion of it. Up for grabs today, a 4-pack of Milwaukee Brewer tickets for next Wednesday's game. This is for May 21st against Baltimore at 12:10 in the afternoon. So if you're able to go to that game next Wednesday afternoon, May 21st, text us on the Civic Media app right now. Click on one of the first 11 stations, click text, and then text the word season, singular, S-E-A-S-O-N, season, S-E-A-S-O-N. Text us right now, and you'll be eligible for the giveaway at the end of the day for Milwaukee Brewers tickets in the club level for next Wednesday. Maggie will have a word of the day on her show as well following our show. But speaking of the Brewers, tried to continue. They got a win here last time around. Last time they were out on the field on Wednesday. Tonight they take on the Minnesota Twins at AmFam Field. That game gets underway across many of our stations on the Civic Media Radio Network over the air at 6:35 with the pregame show. Don't forget you have to listen over terrestrial radio as we cannot stream it on the Civic Media app. 42 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock. Wanted to bring this to you because, and I get it, some people are going to say, well, that's kind of funny. I guess I just don't find anything funny about it. And I was listening to a friend's show earlier today, and she said this, and I thought it was really well said. I'm paraphrasing. If you've never known an undocumented person, this is going to hit different than if you do. I have lots of people in my life. People in my family are Latinas. I know people who are here who are documented, and I've known people in my life who have been undocumented. And I've walked at least with them. Obviously, I never walked in those shoes, but I've walked beside them. And so this story to me is just pathetic. It's sick. And I think it is disqualifying to have someone like Kristi Noem as the Homeland Security. This comes to us from the Wall Street Journal. You can find it other places as well. The Department of Homeland Security is considering a reality show where immigrants compete for citizenship. The Department of Homeland Security is considering being part of a television show in which immigrants would compete for potential U.S. citizenship. An idea the producer pitched as far back as the Obama administration. Department spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin said she had spoken to the producer of the proposed television reality show and the consideration of the idea was ongoing. It is, quote, in the very beginning stages of that vetting process, unquote, she said. Adding, quote, each proposal undergoes a thorough vetting process prior to denial or approval, unquote. The pitch for the proposed citizenship competition show comes from the mind of Rob Warsoff, a producer and writer whose credits include the Duck Dynasty reality show. Warsoff, who emigrated from Canada, by the way, told the Wall Street Journal that the show is meant to be hopeful and a celebration of what it means to be an American citizen. These are his words. Warsoff, quote, "This isn't the Hunger Games for immigrants," he said. Immigrants already in the system would compete in various contests, including potentially an American history and science, Warsoff stressed, and that losing contestants would not face deportation. Quote, "This is not, hey, if you lose, we're shipping you out on a boat to another country," unquote. Warsoff's outreach to Department of Homeland Security was earlier reported by the Daily Mail. Now, apparently, I'm going to paraphrase the next part. There's some, I don't want to say the phrase "in the business." It makes me sound like I'm some big insider. I'm not. But it's commonplace, put it that way. It's commonplace in this industry. If you are pitching something, you have something called a deck or a slide deck. It's basically a fancy way of saying a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
So the Wall Street Journal got a hold of a 36-page slide deck where he outlines this reality show. All right. And in one challenge in this deck, the pitch in San Francisco, for example, immigrants would compete in a gold rush competition where they're sent into a mine to retrieve the most gold. In another episode, contestants would be divided into teams and placed on an auto assembly line in Detroit to reassemble the chassis of a Model T. The slide deck envisions the show beginning with the contestants sailing to Ellis Island, where they're greeted by the show's host, a famous naturalized American. Says, as examples, the producers suggest actors Sofia Vergara, of course, she made her name on Desperate Housewives, Ryan Reynolds, other people. The contestants would then travel across the country on train. After each episode, one seat on the train would be eliminated. What do you think of this? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842.
I have some thoughts.
Sure,
Can you
go ahead.
imagine if this were people waiting on kidney transplants and then they made them compete to see which one of you is going to get a kidney? The other ones will probably die, but which one of you is going to get a kidney? Like, that would be disgusting. How is this any different?
I can't think of much more than be demeaning to someone who is, like I say, I know people who are here documented, undocumented. I know people who have gone through the process legally. And here's what people don't get. Unless you've gone through it, unless you know people have gone through it, I assisted people going through it when I worked at the congressional office and handled immigration issues. It can take years. Everybody says, we'll do it the right way. It can take years. And even when you come here under one status that's legal, you apply for a renewal of that. And because both Republicans and Democrats don't fund the immigration services enough, it takes years for this stuff to get approved. And while they're waiting, they become undocumented. And now to say, well, if you want to go on TV and, it is the Hunger Games. Give me a break. Just like the movie, The Hunger Games. It's putting humans out there and say, it's like the Roman Colosseum. Are you not entertained? And they're using human beings. And don't give me this crap about, if we wouldn't send them back. People are being arrested right now in courthouses in Wisconsin who are coming there hat in hand to immigrate here the quote-unquote right way, the legal way, and they're being arrested and they're being deported. This crap is sick. Take your phone calls after this. It's the Todd Allbaugh Show for a Friday on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Yeah, if this was like your insurance claim for your cancer treatment, we'll process it if you do the Hunger Games. Like, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's disgusting.
Yeah, it really is.
What you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low.
Or when Trump said he wanted to do the Migrant Fighting League or whatever.
Mm.
You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup available, you'll always find what you love only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Hey, at the end of the day, everybody wants the same thing from their mattress. A good night's rest, am I right? It's not rocket science. You don't need a physics genius to make you a futuristic space bed. You just need someone to listen to what you want and who knows the materials that will get you there. And you might even be surprised to learn that that someone could be living right next door. At Verlo, we're your friendly neighborhood mattress genius. American made, locally crafted. Welcome to Verlo.
The Comfy Cauldron Slice of Heaven Market is back Saturday, May 17th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at 210 Main Street in DeForest. Come see makers, bakers, and healers show their talents. Free entry, parking, and gifts available for those who walk in the Comfy Cauldron doors.
Cool off the summer at Frosty's, West Madison small batch ice cream shop. Enjoy rich, handcrafted flavors and soak up the sun on the outdoor patio. And if you mention you heard this on the radio, get 5% off. Frosty's, 702 South Gammon Road.
Herbal Aspect has landed. That's right, Madison's go-to cannabis destination now has a brand new location in Sun Prairie.
Wait, 4 locations? That's a high level of convenience.
With 3 Madison locations and now Sun Prairie, a great cannabis experience is always close by. Our expert staff is here to
Allie
help
in
whether
Madison
you
just
walk
called
in,
in because she had
call, or
sent a
order
text that
online.
says this
Mention
show
Radio
sucks. And she was like,
420
wait,
to get a special
I meant the
discount. So stop
show you're
by.
talking
Herbal
about, not your
Aspect.
show. So I'm like, yep, I figured.
Cannabis isn't just a pipe dream.
Nice. I'm rolling over now.
Herbal Aspect.
Spring is here. Make your lawn the envy of the neighborhood with EB3 Landscaping. With 15 years of top quality service, they treat your property like their own. 608-209-2185 for expert care and a vibrant tomorrow.
The Maggie Dawn Show.
Professor Howard Schwaber.
The point is worth making that an individual government official with the power to unilaterally declare that people he sees without any opportunity of a hearing of any kind is getting really close to the model of rule that the American constitutional system is entirely designed to resist.
Entirely designed to resist. Antithetical to our
30 seconds.
foundational
Thank you.
principles.
Welcome back to the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network, where it is now 8 minutes before the hour of 4 o'clock. At the top of the hour, ABC and CBS News with a weather update for you. Mike Clemens on the sports desk. Brewers, by the way, play tonight at 6:35 against the Minnesota Twins at AmFam Field. We'll have that for you on Richland Center, Oshkosh, Racine, Kenosha, Park Falls, and Hayward over the air only. So be ready for that. Then another edition of the Maggie Dawn Show from 4 until 6, and our friend Pete Schwaba from 6 until 8. My guess is Maggie will be breaking down big story of the day. The Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court this afternoon, blocking President Donald Trump from moving forward with deportations under the 1798 Alien Enemies Act. For a group of immigrants from northern Texas, the Supreme Court sided with Venezuelans who feared they were poised for imminent removal under the sweeping wartime authority. Other big news in the afternoon, weather, want to update you on that. A severe thunderstorm warning continues for our listeners on WISS in Oshkosh and WGBW in Green Bay for Manitowoc County. severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 4 p.m. this afternoon for Manitowoc County. That storm now has moved north of Manitowoc proper, according to radar, now in the Two Rivers area. So be aware of that. That severe thunderstorm warning continues. The other severe thunderstorm warning that we had for you in the Dane County area has the first one that we had is now canceled because the storm moved a little north of where it was originally headed. But there is a new severe thunderstorm warning right now that remains in effect until 4:15 this afternoon, particularly for northwestern Dane County. So the worst of the storm is not going to head towards Madison proper. But if we zoom in right now, that severe storm is right over the top of Black Earth and Mazamani and headed in the Prairie du Sac direction, and then also going to affect kind of the northern side of Middleton and Wanakee. By the way, Zomer is the only Wanakee in the world. Did you know that? Wanakee is in the path of that storm. So if you're in the town of Springfield, if you're in Wanakee, if you're in Westport, if you're on the north side of Lake Mendota, you're going to want to be prepared in the Middleton area, a severe thunderstorm warning for you until 4:15 this afternoon. 60-mile-per-hour winds and penny-sized hail associated with that storm. We'll continue to watch these throughout the afternoon. Right now, I want to finish up on this story. We're talking about Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem with the, I'll call it a sick idea, working with producers of the former show Duck Dynasty to create a reality show where immigrants to the United States will be put on TV in competitions to win an expedited, basically golden ticket to U.S. citizenship. 855-752-4842. Let's go up to beautiful Eau Claire on WCFW, The Tap. Gene in Eau Claire. Thanks for calling, Gene. What's say you?
Oh, thank you so much for bringing up this issue. It is putrid and vile and grossly insane. These people have no place in the great United States of America. They need to be walked out and taken right over for mental health. Thank you for bringing this up. I was sickened when I saw it. I thought these people don't take our country serious, and in fact, they don't care about our country. And I hope people pay attention to this, because this is not the people of our country. Thank you, Todd. Thank you so much for people need to pay attention. These people are not normal, and watch them when they're in their meetings. Pay attention to these people, because they don't care about our country, and they're taking it down the gutter. Thank you so much, Todd. You guys have a great weekend, and thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Gene. You have a great weekend up there at beautiful Eau Claire as well. When I first saw it, my first reaction was this can't be real. Somebody misquoted this, or
Same here.
And so I dug down and found a couple of sources, and then they confirmed it. And then DHS confirmed it and said, no, we're actually looking at this.
That initial disbelief was quickly replaced by a gut-wrenching disgust.
Yeah. We were at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee last summer, and I saw all the signs that said mass deportations now. And it had a real effect on me. I think that part of the convention more than anything else, because it's just so mean-spirited. And it's just so, in my opinion, anti-American. I've had the honor and privilege of going to New York City and going to Ellis Island and visiting the Statue of Liberty. I have had the distinct honor and pleasure. It probably ranks right up there, along with helping military folks, as the greatest honor I've had when I worked on immigration issues for former Congressman Klug, that when you would help someone work through the paperwork and oftentimes cut through the red tape of doing it the right way, quote unquote, that people would invite you then to their swearing in ceremonies, to their naturalization services. And I can see, almost, not quite, as I look out the window here, downtown Madison, the federal courthouse. And I've gone there and witnessed people being sworn in as U.S. citizens. A friend of mine who immigrated here from El Salvador, who had a very long and difficult process to get to a legal status and then to get a green card, and then to be naturalized. And I went to his naturalization ceremony. It was at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, and there were thousands of people there. And to see them all take the oath of naturalization and the U.S. flags and what that moment meant is extraordinary. And the people that want to come here and participate, people like me are the fortunate ones, right? We were born here. We're naturally Americans. The people who are naturalized, they believe in the American dream probably more than those of us who are born here because they had to work for it. And that should be rewarded. And it should never be taken lightly, and certainly never be made fun of. Thanks for a great show today, everybody. Thanks to Bryn and Mike Schieffer from beautiful Barron County. Thanks to Zommers. Thanks to Luke Mathers for helping us set up the show today. And all of you for listening, whatever you're fighting for, whatever you believe in, do not give up. Keep banging your drum. We'll see you Monday.
Well,
all right, everybody.
Everyone.
Many thanks. We appreciate you. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.